Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Spicy Ramen Podcast, serving you some hot anime for the streets.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the Spicy Ramen Podcast, episode 10, aka 10, episode 10.
Yeah, episode 10, let's get it!
Today's podcast, we're going to have Shaq start it off.
Man, alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting right back to it with the 12 bowls of anime for this Christmas special. We're going to finish this up. We're finally down to the final four. I know y'all been waiting for it, been thinking about this list. Let me tell you guys, this list has been crazy. Following on after this list, we're gonna hit it with our honorable mentions as well to let you guys know about a separate list that we all individually had as well. Same kind of crazy mess, bringing it to you. And man, let me tell y'all, this Final Four was a stretch. I know. We're gonna say this right now. For the people y'all think is in the Final Four and not in the Final Four, I'm not apologizing because this is a very, very tough list. Me personally, there's one person on this Final Four I'm like, whatever. But I got outnumbered, so I'm gonna let that go. All right, guys. So for number 4 for our Final Four list, this one was a very serious character for me. Those who know me, I'm a big martial arts head and a mech guy. So normally I probably have a martial arts guy or a mech guy added to this Final Four list. But this guy is different for a lot of reasons. This one, number 4, is Lelouch v. Britannia from the Code Geass series. Now I know. Everybody's thinking, whoa, why this guy? We're gonna break this down just for a little bit. I'm gonna have my teacher hat on for a few moments. I'm only gonna have it for a few moments, okay? So I'm not gonna go all crazy on this.
I need a professor drop for that. Right. Dr. Shaq begins.
He was about to put on the hat, my brother. Listen here, my brother.
Right, like hold on. I think it's gonna be on the test. Hold on, let me check. But going into it, number 4, Lelouch v. Britannia, the Forgotten Prince. I won't say the Forgotten Prince, but the Mr. Rebellion, Zero, all that good stuff. For those who are not familiar with the Code Geass show, this is a show about pretty much the nation of Britannia taking over all the other countries with the advancement of technology with these mech suits. Called Nightmare Frames, taking over all the countries. One country in particular, called Japan, obviously. And when they take over every country, each country they take over is given a number, and that race and those people of that country are known by numbers instead of by the country. So Japan being classified as Area 11, controlled by Britannia, and all Japanese people are become Britannians. Look! I just said I wasn't gonna go too deep into this, but pretty much.
20 minutes later.
I caught myself though. I'm doing better because I caught myself this time. But pretty much, Lelouch v. Britannia is one of the children of the King of Britannia, who is a harsh dictator who rules with an iron fist that feels that strength conquers all, and the weak should sit down and, I guess, just obey their oppressors or some stuff like that. So the big thing about Lelouch, and the reason why we put him in the Final Four, is that, like we've mentioned in a lot of characters and on this list, that he's one of those big big characters that have brought a lot to the table as far as to the audience and to the story itself. He's introduced as this character who's going through so much, and who, even as a child, like a lot of other protagonists in anime, goes through a lot of loss. Because we all know, when you're a main character, you're going to lose your mom, right? So that's always a thing. So going through that, but it's true. And all the stuff that he has to deal with, especially with like losing his mom,
so true,
and thinking that like at least his father would have some kind of way to help comfort him and cope with him. Oh, and also his sister got blind and crippled in the process too. How that happens is a long story. If you can check out this anime, you will learn a lot more in detail about that, because I'm not going to go into detail about that. Anyway, moving on. and just knowing that like his reality of family has been shattered, and that at that moment, at a young age, his purpose is to destroy not only his father but the concept of the kingdom itself of Britannia. And like for someone that young, that's a big ambition. Like you're trying to destroy and topple a government system. Like people that age don't think that, you know? Like come on. So we're already shown that this is a character. This is a character with biggest.
Do you know the guy named Itachi?
Okay, we're not gonna talk about Itachi. Okay, hold on.
We always gonna talk about Itachi.
Okay, true, but still, Itachi is like a whole.
Our Lord and Savior JoJo.
Don't you do that? Don't you start.
JoJo was 16. Okay, 16.
No, Lelouch was like 4, 5 when he lost his mom and all that other stuff. But anyway, so at early beginning stages of this series, we understand the conflict that this main character goes through and what his overall ambition is. And as the story progresses, we're seeing a shift in this character and in his truth of trying to topple the government and also like try to create a better world for his younger sister, who is now, as the story progresses, blind and crippled and all that good stuff. And it's just like he's going to that by any means necessary mentality to where like he's betraying a large handful of people and manipulating so many people with his abilities of Gios. Shortly, his ability is pretty much that like he can give somebody a command and they will do it, but after the command is done, they will have no recollection of it have being done and stuff like that. Pretty much the whole, royalty kind of ego thing to kind of boost his ego, continue on into the story. But this guy and his entire plan with his best friends, his other presumed family members, which is the other princes and princesses of the royal family and everything, and this large web of lies, betrayal, and manipulation that you see, and it's just like, honestly, like you're seeing a man playing chess like 7 times and winning each board. Like it's crazy. And for those, should I really spoil the ending? Kind of.
No, please don't.
Okay.
No.
Because I'm watching it.
Okay. So, and pretty much kind of just to get the main gist, the meat and potatoes of this is that like Lelouch v. Britannia in his story is a character that had this big goal, this big ambition, introduces it to you, shows you like all the pain at the early stages that he went through to go through this, and then showing you this evolution, this mindset of this character and the world around him, and how he's just not only changing himself but changing the entire world, and like how impactful of a character this guy is, and how you can really just tell that like this guy thought through every last detail. Now, there's been, like we said before, there's multiple main characters that, have done this in their own perspective rights in their series and stuff like that. But I would say myself, reason why, emphasizing again, why this guy is number 4 on this list is because, like I said, for those who have seen the entire anime, and we're not including the movie that came out recently, we're not going to talk about that. Don't you mention that in the comment section. I will find you. But we're talking about this character who has done so much within the series that you feel like, what could he possibly do next to top what he just did? And he does it, And like I said before, for those who know the ending, see this entire plan weave its web all together for this final point, and just like it just leaves you in a shock and awe that, like, that I believe is what gives him this spot on this list. And like I said before, once again, this is Lelouch v. Britannia from Code Geass. Honestly, like a master player in his game, and like when you think you're a player, you're not to him, And that junk is ridiculously crazy. And like I said, I've done a lot better this time, guys. I didn't go into detail like I normally do, so that's a good kudos for me.
Yeah, so you really need to check that out. I mean, I personally have yet to look at it, but from what you're saying, I'm definitely going to have to add that to my list. I might read it versus watch it because I've fallen in love with the manga side of things, only because I get the heads up and the true version of what's going on. But definitely looks like it's about to be a good watch.
Yeah, I started it, and it's pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to
It's I
diving
believe it's
into it.
available on both Netflix and Hulu.
All right. Next up, JP, you can get into your half dog, half human series.
And coming in at number 3, this is JP St. Louis going to be bringing it to you. Number 3 is Edward Elric from the Full Metal Alchemist series. It's a show about Edward Elric, pretty much. Him and his brother, they're studying alchemy, and they end up losing their mother. Their father leaves, they lose their mother, and they go and perform the forbidden rule in alchemy, as that's human transmutation. And they try to bring their mother back. Shit goes real wrong. A boy gets put in a tin can, and then the other one loses his arm and his leg. So it's pretty much like Bionic Man and a Chef Boyardee can with a soul in it.
If only he had a heart and a brain.
But Alphonse is dope. I love Alphonse. But so the show begins pretty much Edward becomes a state alchemist, and they're helping the state alchemist, and they're also searching for a way to get their body back. Edward Elric is the older brother of Alphonse, and he's really caring more so about getting his brother's body back because it's his fault that his brother is in that iron suit. And then he's also blaming himself a little bit for why he's so short. People say that's one of the common jokes in that series is him being short. And it was pretty much hinted at that his automail stunted his growth.
Yeah, definitely. Completely.
But going through with this search, they end up finding out something about a powerful weapon that is being used by some, I guess you would almost say, fake humans. And there's a mastermind behind all of it. I don't want to say the name, so I was trying not to spoil anything for anybody. So they're fighting 2 battles. They're trying to find a way to get their body back, but then there's also something shady going on within the government and this group of people, and they're trying to figure out the answers why. And also they're learning about different forms of forbidden alchemy that is being used to power up these weapons. And there's actually a big reason on why this certain weapon is being created and who's actually trying to get their plan done. So in this series, you get a lot of good fighting. You get a lot of awesome corruption stories. And then you find out about the worst father in anime history. He comes super early.
There's a lot of competition for worst dad of the year.
So many. I think Full Metal Alchemist has 2 of the best sort of like fucked up scenarios that people love making memes out of. One is a certain alchemist or state alchemist or whatever you want to call it, and his death will it'll punch you right in the gut. It'll make you hate phone booths, even though we don't even have them anymore. It's like if you see one in a memorabilia store, you might tear it down. But with this story, it's one of the best stories, honestly. I think it's one of the best animes for new anime watchers to get into because it's not just a whole bunch of action, not a whole bunch of the crazy, perverted stuff that you see in anime and all that. It's actually a really good story about 2 brothers and then them making friends, them trying to get at least some form of their old life back, and then a great story about corruption. And you get one of the coolest death, like a rage scene ever in anime. There's only a few moments that really top that moment, if you guys know what I'm talking about.
I think the main reason why Elric made top 4 out of all the anime people that we could have chose is because not only does he have such a difficult time being so young and still being so intelligent, he has the immaturity of lack of experience when it comes to real world issues. and he's still able to develop his own philosophy during that time. And even as he's creating his own philosophy and learning about the different alchemy that is out there, he is molding his own virtue in the process. Even towards the end, when it's a legit choice between life and death between his brother and a few other people, you can see that he, even in that moment, is still contemplating and molding himself to be the best person that he can possibly be. If you ever get a chance to watch it, just pay attention to the subjective questions and things he has to answer and how he responds. Even sometimes he's not responding correctly, only because, again, he's a boy. He's not like a grown man making these decisions. He's literally learning on the fly, but his intelligence puts him at a, grown man captain level in the military.
Yeah, I would also add in on that, like, it's kind of like, as he's going through all these, like, different situations with him and his brothers, with their quest to restore their bodies during the show and everything, and it's like, as they go through all these different types of confrontations, like you were saying before, like, he'll get stumbled with these types of questions, and like when you give him option A or option B, he's trying to come up with option C. In the process of you explaining this to him, and it's like, like you said before, this is the child. Like, at the end of the day, this is the child coming up with these like high level, well, I would say, critical thinking capabilities and whatnot. For those who don't know what alchemy is, let's just say, for the sake of this anime, it's science but with extra magic.
And hey, you know what? I appreciate you guys getting me back on track, because I just started talking about how beast the anime was. I forgot it was about Edward.
Nah, it's all good.
I want to pull the Shaq. I'm out here making fun of Shaq, and then I go pull.
Cause it's hard, right? Like, once you start getting hitting them details, you like, the wheel starts turning, and it's like you can't stop.
And it also shows like how passionate we are about these shows. It's not because we're not choosing these shows because it's just on some website. We're choosing it because we've watched all of these episodes, and out of all of the episodes, we know these characters in detail to the point where if someone else knows about it, we can have a whole hour conversation just on that one show.
It's like we're doing a podcast about it. No.
I do.
All right, number 2, Amadou, and this is my character of the decade. I mean, yes, number 1 is number 1. I can't really fight him because of what he did. But number 2 on this list is Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece.
Hey,
shocker!
And for those who don't know,
I don't like how you said that shit.
Monkey D is the biggest, largest anime character to exist. I mean, yes, there is a lot of competition in that statement, but the number 1 selling, period, is Monkey D. There's no one really beating Luffy in this category because Monkey D. Luffy is the man. Now, I'm going to get into the detail. I just had to get off my tangent. If you ever get a chance to look up One Piece and decide to watch it, please do not be like the other people or the non-followers and just give it a chance. I'm telling you.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you do.
You have a choice. This is optional.
All right, so getting off my high horse. Monkey D. Luffy is a character inside of the anime called One Piece. This show is about a huge, which we still don't know to this day, a huge piece of treasure that one of the greatest pirates to ever exist left behind. And this 12-year-old kid by the name of Monkey D. Luffy decides to go on a journey and try to find it for himself. Now, where we're at now, he's going on about 18 now. So you've gotten about maybe 6 or 7 years worth of his journey, and even a little time cap relapse of, how he got to the point of being 12 and actually getting out into the sea. What makes Monkey D. Luffy so special is because they have these powers called gum fruits, Well, they have them, called gum gum fruits. And what they do is, it's a fruit that gives you a unique ability to either manipulate the weather, manipulate the earth, or your body to do a specific thing. The only setback that these powers have is that you can no longer swim. And for in this world, that it's nothing, it is 40% land and 60% water. It is very hard to adjust to not having that ability to be in water. And if you're a pirate, it's kind of hard to not be able to swim and still be a pirate. But these characters do. The biggest piece about Monkey D. Luffy that everyone, even from episode 1, knows is he may not be the smartest, but his virtue, his willpower, and his sense of justice is what keeps him steady. If you decide I am going to, and it doesn't even have to be his crew, it could be his affiliates of his crew. If you do something that is against what he believes in, he is coming for you. There is no, I'm going to think about it. There is no hesitation. If he feels as though you're doing something wrong, he will get at you. And there's tons of examples. The biggest example I could ever tell anyone, and again, this is not really a spoiler, it's just more of an example of just the type of character he is.
I mean, you got so many references.
There's over 100 references. But there is a character on his crew called Nami. And she's being extorted, blackmailed on her own country. The whole time that she is doing all this, she's trying to cover it up from her new crewmate, which is Luffy. Luffy knows what's going on, but he refuses to do anything because he wants her to be able to ask her for help. He's like, look, I can do this. Just ask for it. Tell me what's going on. And she's like stealing money from him. She's doing all these things, but because he believes that she is a friend, he doesn't do anything. But the moment, and I mean the moment, she finally breaks down and says, "Can you help me?"
Beast.
All hell on that island breaks loose.
Of course I will.
And it's just, again, I know it's kind of deep into the shows, but they have over 6 different movies that you could watch to completely catch you up into the series. They are about 900 episodes. So it is a very long show. It's been going on for 20 years now. The writer saying that he should be done soon. So to me, that's like the next 5 years.
He making cash.
I'm gonna be in my 50s. I'm gonna be in my 50s when he's done with this.
But I will say, with
Be
the
watching
new
this with
manga
my
that they
grandkids.
just did, the new manga that they just did this week, it really feels like he's trying to wrap it up. I almost cried. Like it's one of those, like, yo, you can't be telling us this information already. Like, it's a timestamp to show where Luffy is along the track of where the original number 1 pirate went. And if you're looking at his timestamps of where the original pirate went to get the One Piece, Luffy's like pretty close to where, you know, he stopped, where he had to go to get to the One Piece. Again, I'm not going to go into all the details. I just want to say that Luffy as a character, he is one of those very humbled. He's a pirate. He takes gold when he wants to. If he wants to fight you, he just fights you. There's no real thought. If he wants to kill you, he will kill you. There's people die in this. It is real life. There's a few plot armor saves in the most recent fights, but even then it was like, yeah, I can see how that worked. But yeah, I think that Luffy being who he is in the past 10 years, you have seen some of the biggest changes in Luffy, biggest deaths that he's had to face. One of the biggest things that brought me in for being close to number one of the decade is because of how he had to handle one of the biggest losses and how he recovered from it. Just as a reflection to show that he's human, that he has emotion, and that he can break down. Like, he mentally breaks down. There is no like savior or plot armor, so to speak, but he's able to recover, and he recovers stronger than he was before it happened. And again, I don't want to sell and I don't want to spoil a lot, but this is one of those shows that if you start it and you truly give it a chance, by episode 15 you won't stop watching it. It's one of those shows that if it pulls on one string, it's going to pull on about 20 of your heartstrings, and it goes from there.
But you totally don't have to watch this at all, so.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I kid. I'm gonna get my life together at some point and watch it, and like I'll be like 50 when I
Yeah,
finish.
and then he's gonna be like, "God damn, I should have been watching this."
Bruh, I'm telling you, man. If he could just get to Fisherman Island, and if he could just get past the time skip, I know for a fact he would be caught all the way up.
No promises. Well, hey guys, if y'all can get a whole bunch of likes, if we can get about a couple thousand likes for this countdown, I might give it a chance.
All right, we're gonna speak that into existence.
Get these people
next
involved.
on our list, and I think JP, you can do this probably, but next on our list,
We can all do it, honestly.
Yeah, this one's a big one.
I'll start it off with the beginning.
Okay, you got it.
All right, so coming in at number one, to some people it's going to sound really annoying, but I don't care because he's the coolest. It's Mr. Databayo, Mr. Believe It himself, Naruto Uzumaki.
You better believe it.
It's where the theme song comes in. If you're angry, Naruto, run away from the show right now.
And I say this.
Yeah, I'm watching this show where it's this kid is I forgot the show name, but the kid has some form of autism, but he's like a genius. Like it's all about numbers with him. If he has a 3-digit code, it saves like my wife watches it. I'm like peeks in, and he does the Naruto run whenever he has an emergency, and oh my god.
No. I tell this story all the time because I love it. So every year I participate in the March of Dimes, which is a fundraiser to help premature babies and mothers and all that good stuff. If you guys don't know about it, donate today. But a part of that, they have a superhero sprint for the little kids. Let them do like a little quick, I think it's a 50-60 meter sprint, not really that far, but let them just like do a nice little sprint and they race against each other. So one year I'm there, and this little kid who's there, he has one of the March of Dime headbands around his head or whatever. So I'm not really paying too much attention about it, but like the little kids line up, the lady's in front of him talking about like you're gonna go from here to here, and she goes, on your mark. Let me tell you before I go into detail, this kid claps his hands. And I'm thinking to myself, he's not about to do what I think he's about to do. This kid clapped his hands, did about 3 hand signs, and the lady said, "Get set," and he leaned forward. And when she said go, this little man, I forget the child's name, but this little man flung his arm back, thrusted his chest forward, and Naruto ran so hard. I'm telling you, this kid built up the chakra, all the chakra he could, and sprinted so hard for this little sprint. Like, I'm talking about, like, this kid had to be like 4 or 5, maybe 6. but this dude sprinted with all his heart, and he won. Like, I think people who knew what he did were the ones that were the most excited, because as soon as I saw him, and I was like, yeah, believe it.
And that's the impact that Naruto has had on people's lives.
Yes.
I would almost say that Naruto is, for a lot of people, it's like our version of Dragon Ball Z. Like, if we hear, it's like, oh, I watch anime, I watch Dragon Ball Z, it's like, yeah. And that's kind of like what it's become. So many people have watched it. It's become so popular in the United States that it's almost corny to say that you watch Naruto in a sense. But no. For some people, they're like I'm in some anime group chats and people are like, Naruto, they're like, can y'all stop talking about that show? The snobs. I'm not talking about like the cool people, just like the snobs. They'll be like, Naruto ain't.
Yeah. Like watching dubbed Naruto is like a curse.
It is horrible though.
I mean,
wait, let me
60. I'm like 70-30 on this.
I've never watched it
60-40.
But what I'll actually go and give his story. So this boy is an orphan. The show starts off when he's 12 years old. He's a 12-year-old orphan in a ninja village called Konoha. And we don't know anything about his parents. Both of them are dead. He's by himself, and we find out that the reason why he's by himself and why he is ostracized by a lot of the villagers and even his classmates in the ninja academy is because he had the nine-tailed demon fox that had attacked the village 12 years ago and was the cause of the death of many people and also the death of Naruto's parents. And that was sealed inside of him, so a lot of people view him as that same monster that terrorized their city. So he's going along trying to become a ninja and find his, in quotation marks, ninja way. And he joins a squad that has his rival Sasuke Uchiha, which they have the biggest bromance in all of anime, or one of the biggest.
I was about to say.
The whole show is pretty much, I'm not going to go and say anything, but it revolves a lot around those two. And they both have a horrible history. Naruto's has been bad since the beginning. Sasuke's was good and then turned bad. And then they have their teammate Sakura, who is pretty much useless for the first half. So
right. Like she's there for certain plot points.
She
or
was
whatever.
Okay. Like I hate the Sakura.
The first half of Naruto, she really didn't do shit. Like she was not.
Yeah.
She came out in Shippuden, and this is where I think people are tripping, where they say she's just useless all throughout Shippuden. Like, that's a lie. It's like don't say that. It's like lie. Y'all are showing your misogyny right now because y'all only saying that because she's a woman. But
no, I think it was worse when she was healing all of the damn village, including the rest of the soldiers. And they were like, yeah, but that's all she did. I'm like, wait, time out.
Right? It's like she kept them alive. She kept Naruto alive.
What is support supposed to do?
I will say that like she did that for a good a large portion of the show until the very end, till he became like anime Jesus second coming.
Pretty much.
Then he didn't need it.
And the great thing about Naruto is there's so many different. There's Naruto Part 1, which is pretty much all that I can explain without going into spoilers. But then there's a Naruto Shippuden Part 2 where he comes back after training for 2 years. And I'll go and let Justin go and explain what happens with that.
Man. Okay, so what happens is, in the original Naruto Uzumaki series, you have the kid version where he is a trained killer, pretty much. He's learning how to become a ninja. He gets to a certain class of ninja, and he leaves to go train and come back and try to get to the next level. When he does come back in Shippuden, he tries to do it, but he mess ups during one of the exams. He has a huge mistake. He is outclassing the person that he's fighting, but he doesn't know how to truly fight within the rules, and that clearly stops him from going and advancing. But during these exams, there's a terrorist who decides to kill the president or the leader of the village. This terrorist is very powerful. He sends Naruto and his team, which is called Team 7, down this path where it causes him to have to not only fight him, but go and fight his rival, which is Sasuke.
Also his best friend.
Yeah, also his best. If this was any like Yoi or Yuri, these two should have been together. But not gonna go there.
Can we not, please? Like, no, just no.
What happens is Sasuke's older brother, he does some heinous things while they were children, and he comes back for his brother. He attempts to kill his brother, and in that process, Sasuke realizes that he's too weak, and being inside the village, he will never get to the level that he wants to amount to, so he leaves. The entire Shippuden series is about how Naruto grows in strength and also tries to do three things, actually. He tries to unify the nations of having a open communication and trying to create peace between the different villages that are amongst them, which is 5 main ones, but we learn that there are more. Number 2, he tries to, even within all of this, become the leader of his own village through his acts of merit and getting the villagers to believe in him. And number 3, which is the overshadowed main piece of all of this Naruto series, which is bringing back his best friend. His best friend does some crazy stuff. He tries to fight a few people that smacks him around a little bit. There's a lot of plot armor that goes into this. But the main reason why he is number 1 Naruto is number 1 and still number 1, and even in American culture he's becoming such a household name, is because even when he's killing people, even when he has to fight to the death, even when he's doing and he's having to witness some of the most psychological breakdowns where they even have techniques to destroy your psyche, he's able to persevere based on his core values and, as we said earlier, his ninja way. There is some insane fight scenes. This is rated number 1 for many years on how they animate the fight scenes. If you ever get a chance, just look up Naruto versus anybody, and you'll get a 15-minute fight clip that you will never be like. If you walk away saying that was trash, I'll come fight you. Let me know where you at.
Well, I'm not trying to be. I will say there was one fight that like some of the animation was like, whoa, what? But the fight was good itself, so nobody talked about it. But it was one particular fight that the animation was like, huh?
Which one was it?
I'm trying not to say who it is without spoiling it. But
I mean, if you say the names, that's
give
not
nicknames.
It,
okay,
just give nicknames.
Oh, emo guy with all the spikes in his face.
Oh, you talking about Lee?
No. No, emo dude.
Emo orange hair.
Oh, okay.
Black cloak.
Okay.
Because there's a couple of fight scenes where like their faces were kind of like, what? Like this looked like somebody just like kind of like wrapped up claymation and like just go with it. But I digress. Never mind. I digress.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I think that just if you were to ever have a chance to watch it, I know a few of my friends have already hit me up about how there's so much death inside this show. This show is in the shonen, everything's gonna be okay, everything is positive type of show, but no, it's the darkest. Like people die daily.
I wouldn't say darkest.
War. It's not really.
It's dark when you
in comparison
look
to, like,
at it.
Tokyo.
It's dark as hell when you
It's
look
dark-
at
yeah.
it.
It's dark when
They
you
just
look
make
at
it very
but
bubbly in some senses.
Some way.
They make
They
make
have
light
their
of
comedic
dark
reliefs.
situations. That's what it is.
But you got like people pulling eyes out of people just to put them inside their own eye. I still don't understand that part, but like it's a lot of dark sides to this.
It is.
But yes, I think that the main reason why Naruto gets number one is because of how the series ended. It did end this decade, but it was the most. And again, you can correct me if there is another one that you can think of, but that was the most like heartfelt ending to ever be displayed this decade.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I don't think there's anything that can truly compare to. I mean, the aftermath of what happened between the two rivals is but their fight and how they ended it, and I mean, again, there is some hate as to the final boss enemy.
Gosh, that is one
we're-
of those
we are
things
not-
about this anime is that there's so many complaints, but even still, we're like, this is one of the greatest or most iconic
Yeah.
shows for all of us.
Right.
But yeah, I think again, if you ever get a chance to look at it, please look at it because it is one of the greatest shows to ever exist as far as Japanese animation. There's no I don't think there's anyone that could truly argue that.
And I think one of the things about the show that it's like what it teaches us, never giving up, perseverance, and that dude's the definition of just like nah. It's like you ain't doing that, nah. He's like that. We ain't having it like that, boss. And really, it's like he wants to do the good thing. He wants to help the world. He's one of the nicest characters ever.
And I think the biggest part about him and the reason why he's like number 1, 2 is because he has so many ways of doing it. Like, okay, either I can beat your ass, I can do talk no jutsu, I can talk to you while I'm beating your ass.
I was about to mention that too. The infamous technique that like he is mostly known for is talk your heart no jutsu. I think he made about at least 80, if not 85% of the villains in this series, and like talked them into like, you know what? If things were different, we would be friends.
And could you imagine if we could handle stuff? If we had a real Naruto in like politics, who could just talk no jutsu to everybody?
Oh my god!
I mean, we'd either have a fucking. I mean, oops. We'd have a dictator or a really good person.
I feel like that can be like a really like not serious but serious at the moment question to somebody who's running for president, and just like see how they respond, just to like see their character. Like, how do you feel like as if you can solve world issues with Taco Jutsu, and you see how they how they respond?
And I think that the make it worse, and just another shot at like how great Naruto is. Naruto's series was so good that their spinoff, which is Boruto, had to go back to Naruto just to get people back watching.
Yes. Like when you have to go back to the original series to somebody to watch the spinoff, it's like, oh yeah, we're like one of the best fights in Boruto did not include Boruto. It include Naruto.
You're right, and I'm
not even watching the show.
Well, again, I know we're harping on the number 1 anime, but we do have to talk about the big monkey in the room.
Ooh, and it's a big one. It's a big one, boy.
Which is Goku. Again, we will talk about this in episode 11, so please don't. You can kill us all you want. We'll explain it in detail in episode 11.
I can sense the trolls. Why is Son Goku on the list? Oh my god, you guys are such weebs. Oh my god, like seriously? I bet you watch all
like
your
y'all really hate
subs.
Goku. Like y'all really hate Dragon Ball Z.
Do you even watch him sub, bro? Like, come on, what the heck? Akira Toriyama did so much work on him.
The character development.
Oh
come on.
Oh, we're not going to listen. You know what? No, we're going to save that because You know, no, I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm gonna leave that alone. I will say about Naruto that he's one of the few anime characters that had me so motivated to eat a bowl of ramen. Like when I see him do it, like me eating little oodles and noodles back in the day, it was just like I'm eating garbage, bro. Like I gotta eat this ramen stuff he talking about. I gotta eat the pure stuff, bro.
I mean, again, and I know we'll talk about it in the next episode. I just think that Naruto gave me, even when we were growing up, and I was a huge, when I mean huge, you couldn't tell me nothing about Dragon Ball Z. We'd be fighting in the bathroom if you had anything to say about it. But
oh God,
this decade, man, Naruto just killed it. Like there was nothing that really like I could knock outside of the final. I think the final antagonist was like
it was so bad.
Yeah,
like it was cool because we got to see some people's power ups, you know, and stuff like that. But it's like, it just ruined it.
So I will say this: like the first main enemy towards the end was like I no one can tell me he's not anime Jesus, and y'all know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
If like I like people can say like, oh he wasn't even that OP. I'm like, come on, if you think about it through the whole story, he was anime Jesus.
They talked about him.
He was immortal.
He was talking, but no one ever saw him. It was almost like he became a myth.
Yeah.
Time out. If you could train somebody to act like you
and actually have people shit
and they almost take over the world.
And the thing is, he fooled someone who knew him.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's what I'm saying. That's insane. Like, dude had like disciples and everything, and like tricked everybody, bro. Like,
I don't know, but again, thank y'all for listening. This has been episode 10 of the Spicy Ramen Podcast. We have finally given y'all the top 4 protagonists of the decade. Again, like, comment, subscribe. You're gonna be hearing my thank you for ladies and gentlemen in about a few seconds. But again, I just wanted to say thank y'all. We do appreciate everyone who listens in. All the comments that you do, every message, the random phone calls that I get about the stuff that I say on this podcast. We love it all. All right. Please continue to do it. We thank y'all. And again, y'all got
we will get better at responding to everybody who posts on there. I mean, everybody, I'm not saying it like we have a crazy amount. We're at the beginning, but the people who have taken the time out to say something, we appreciate it, and we will get back to you guys.
And big shout out to Chelsea. I know we weren't able to comment, but thank you for giving your opinion on it. I know if you're listening to this, we just
appreciate it.
She was one of the people who tried to get us out of our list. We didn't know how to respond correctly, so we chose this way as to do it. If you send us a message, we might be able to send you out something, only because, again, you were one of those people that at least attempted, and you were pretty close. So we will definitely be following up with what we said, and all we need we'll talk about it later once you actually send us our message. But again, thank y'all for listening. We appreciate it. We hope y'all had a wonderful Christmas, a happy New Year's, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. And we will look forward to hearing from y'all for the new year. Again, thank y'all for listening, and y'all have a wonderful day. Just want to say thank you again for listening to us. This is the Spicy Ramen Podcast. You can follow us or share, like, subscribe at Facebook, Instagram, and or Twitter. Our hook line or @ is Spicy Ramen Podcast. Again, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the show.
Peace.